Hey there, my name is Alexis. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back if you aren't. Today I wanted to talk about the reboot of one of my favorite shows of all time, Malcolm in the Middle. If you don't know, Malcolm in the Middle is a show about this boy named Malcolm who is pretty much the genius black sheep of his insane-ass family. He has two parents. He has four brothers at the end of the series. For most of it, he has just three. And then in the series finale, we actually get hinted at a sixth and final Wilkerson child. And we actually get to meet them in this revival, so that's pretty cool. The original show aired from 2000 to 2006 with 151 episodes across 7 seasons. And now, 20 years later, in 2026, we have 4 more episodes. The plot of this little mini-series is that it's Hal and Lois's 40th anniversary, and they're trying to get Malcolm to come to the party, but he doesn't want to go because he's being a little bitch. There's a lot more than that, but that's the best way to sum up anything about Malcolm, and I say that with love. The first episode of Malcolm in the Middle, Life's Still Unfair, starts with a voiceover of Hal, played by famous drug dealer Walter White, saying,
"Previously on Malcolm in the Middle."
And then it's followed by a clip montage spanning the entire show. Right off the bat, I don't think they should have done that. 10 seconds in, they've already made a mistake. It's not that bad, but I think instead they should have shown the scenes from the series finale. I think they should have shown Lois's speech to Malcolm before the graduation itself, and then the Where Are They Now clips at the end. Especially since you're saying previously 20 years after the series finale, and then you're going to show us shit from season 1. We're past that. We know. We've been there. Then Hal says,
"And someone actually asked for more of this."
Lots of people may say nobody asked for this, but I did. Flash forward to the present. Malcolm is out of Harvard and is now the head of a company that he created that installs computer systems in food stores and manufacturers to align their inventory with food banks and shelters. Once again, I think seeing Lois's speech, it would have been nice because it would show us that yes, he didn't do all the big things that his parents said he was going to do, but he's still doing such important work that's helping people who are struggling, because he knows what it was like to have struggled, which was Lois's whole point. After talking with a dumb intern,
I really appreciate the opportunity. Everyone in my class was after this internship. I fought tooth and nail for it. So, what do you guys do?
Well, so instead of unused food getting dumped, it goes to people who actually need it.
Got it. And what is a food bank?
Maybe watch our video a few more times.
Malcolm turns to the camera for the first time in his adult life, and he's very different now. He's happy, successful, and works productively with idiots. If you've seen the original series, you know what a big accomplishment this is for Malcolm. Then he tells us that his little life hack for such a perfect life has been avoiding his family for 15 years. That's not Malcolm. On the way home from work, he explains that ever since he went to college and was able to actually be away from his family, he's felt much more stable and has such better mental health, and that whenever he would be in contact with them for more than 2 seconds, he would immediately become a sociopath. His words, not mine. So yeah, for the past 15 years, he's been coming up with schemes and excuses to avoid them. He will respond just enough so they don't come looking for him, but he also makes sure to seem as busy as possible. Buddy, you might as well just cut them off at that point. You're doing so much. And if you think him avoiding his family for so long like that is, and to that degree, is insane like I do, just wait until you hear about the secrets he's been keeping by avoiding them. It's fucking insane. It's insane, guys. This is Daisy B. We're gonna have to find out about those secrets later, though, because now we're finally back where it all started, the Wilkerson house. It is clearly different now. They show us then and now comparisons, and first, the outside, I actually like it. I like the outside changes. They changed the house to a nice darkish blue, and I think it really looks nice. And then low-key, that's about it, because then once it starts showing the inside of the house, I'm because when I was watching the series, I was trying to think of what the word was when I was looking at the house. All the houses, actually, because Malcolm's house, oh my god, it's so bland and boring and shit. Gentrified. That's what it looks like. Fucking Netflix lighting and shit. That's the main thing that I do not like about this little mini-series. The lighting. Malcolm in the Middle was very much warm-toned. And I get that that probably has to do with it being in the 2000s. And so, like, yeah, of course things would be less warm now because it's not as, like, nostalgic and whatever. But, like, bring back color grading, because I'm so sick of bright white light. I'm sick of the Netflix lighting. I'm so sick of it. And the worst part is the white light makes the house changes even worse. Like, a lot of the walls are now beige and gray, which I know that in the original, a lot of the walls were, like, more beige sandy, but like there was still color in there. Like they had a green wall on their bar. Do y'all not remember that? Now it's like gray. The plaid couch, it's gone. Now it's a blue and gray couch. Although there are plaid pillows on the couch, so I like to think that the kids broke the original couch and then Lois used the fabric when they replaced it. And like I know 20 years has passed and 5 of the 6 kids are now out of the house. So now Hal and Lois are able to like have and afford nicer things or whatever, but it doesn't even feel nice. It feels like a house, not a home. But yeah, anyways, less about the house, more about the people. Like in the pilot, we meet Lois and Hal for the first time again in the kitchen where Lois is shaving Hal completely naked. But this time, on the table is a laptop where a grown-up Dewey is forced to watch. It turns out that Dewey will unfortunately be missing his parents' anniversary party because he's on a concert tour and will be playing for the Swedish royal family in Sweden. One thing's for sure, they were not lying when they said everything was going to work out for Dewey. Because, oh, you're playing for the Swedish royal family. Right. By the way, this is not the original actor for Dewey, Eric Pursullivan. I believe he turned down the role because he's still doing school. This is Caleb Ellsworth Clark, who I think did a good job. I will say, though, I think it's funny that they went through the trouble of recasting Dewey just to have all his screen time be on a literal screen. I swear to God, Dewey is on this laptop the entire time. And the only time he's not is actually in the last episode, and he's up on a projector screen. So, did we need Dewey? But to be honest, I do prefer him being there in any capacity rather than like a Fuller House situation where everybody's like, "Where's Dewey?" Dewey asks his parents if Jamie is going to be able to make the party, and that's when we meet the newest Wilkerson sibling, Kelly.
Put in for a leaf.
Towel!
Who's yelling towel repeatedly so they don't have to see Hal naked. Very smart. Now, in case you didn't know, there seemed to be like a lot of discourse on this when the casting was first announced. Kelly and their actor Von Murray, I hope I'm saying that right, is non-binary with they them pronouns. A lot of people were like complaining like, oh my god, this is so woke or whatever. I'm here to tell you, no, it's not. It goes with the joke that Lois never has girls. That's it. Also, why the fuck are we mad about diversity? Like, who cares? Genuinely, who cares? Kelly seemed like a fun character and Vaughn did a great job playing them. Like, I don't see what the problem is. Because, like, it's not like the original show was against queerness. You know, like off the top of my head, I can remember Malcolm and Reese thinking the other is gay and being supportive of it. Like, Reese literally watches gay porn for Malcolm.
It's called If You're Gay, It's Okay. It's full of great resources. What's this? Naughty Pool Boys 3. I watched 10 or 12 of these, and this one seems like the most stuff you guys like.
And that's something only a true brother would do. Reese's buddy from the army is a lesbian who has a big fat crush on his mom. Which I love that episode. That's a good episode. Reese hearing about a kid who has 2 dads, and he's like, oh my god, it must be awesome having all dudes in the house. Oh my god, Francis and Drag in the If Boys Were Girls episode, while all the other brothers had actual female counterpart actresses. And you know what? Whatever the fuck Lloyd and Dabney were doing, which we will get into. Trust we will get into. But it's not like the show was like opposed to queerness, you know what I mean? So I don't know why people were making like such a big deal about it. Sorry for the rant. Back to Kelly being non-binary for a second. To introduce the pronouns, Hal says that he and Lois are going to the store, and he's like, do them wants to come? And you can tell that it's a genuine attempt, but Kelly's obviously like, bitch, what the fuck? And what do they say? Him can't come with we, us has homework. So yeah, I just thought that was funny. Before going to the store, we get a scene with Hal and Reese, and the only thing I want to say, I hate what they did with Reese's character. They made him such a fucking loser. And like, I know he's a loser, but like, he also had such potential. Like, I really thought that at this point he was going to be a chef, either in his own restaurant or someone else's, because cooking is the one thing they made him good at besides beating people up. But no, instead Reese has no job and has had multiple failed marriages. Canonically, we only know of 2, and I think he would only count one of those, because it's Reduca and then that guy that he had to marry when he escaped the army. I just wish that they let Reese have a little bit of success that wasn't from malicious stuff, because we'll get into that later. It's been 20 years, he could have done more. He could have been a chef and still do the fucked up shit he's about to do. At the store, while getting more stuff for their anniversary party, Hal and his poker buddy surprised Lois with a performance of Locked Out of Heaven by Bruno Mars. And despite the amazing performance, Lois makes Hal promise that this anniversary, they're gonna do it her way. She's in charge of everything, no surprises from him, because she feels bad that he's had to plan everything for the past 39 years. And the man sadly agrees. Back with Malcolm, we finally get to meet his daughter Leah, which... not to out myself, but God, if you guys knew my Tumblr, I called this. I low-key feel like I called this shit before the revival was announced. I knew Malcolm was gonna have a daughter, and I knew he was gonna get a girl pregnant in college. That's what happens. He tells us that he gets a girl named Dreamer. Yeah, Dreamer. Dreamer, I hardly know her. Pregnant at a college party, and she runs off a few days after Leah's born, so he's been a single father ever since. Hey, I knew that was gonna happen. Because, fucking think about it, why wouldn't it? He's finally away from Lois's control and supervision, and he gets a girl pregnant at his first keg party.
My daughter, Leah. She's got a trophy I won in college for attending my first kegger. She hates that joke. Her mother, Dreamer. Yes, her name is Dreamer. Ran off 3 days after giving birth, so single father.
It's like, oh my god, do I, know these characters? That's how locked into the shit I am. You wanna know what else I knew? I knew Leah was gonna talk to the camera. Because fucking obviously, of course she was gonna talk to the camera. 1, she's Malcolm's daughter, and Malcolm talks to the camera. 2, when we meet her, she's very clearly, over-analytical, like her father. And I think that gets to a point of breaking the fourth wall. She also is, a bit emotional, and I don't say that as a bad thing. Especially since she's so young. I think she's about 15. I think Malcolm decided to avoid his family for good once Leah was born. But also, I did very recently see a interview with Linwood Boomer, who's the writer of the show, both the original and the revival. And he says that the reason Malcolm talks to the camera, aka us, is because he's talking to an imaginary friend, aka us, because he's so lonely. And then after meeting Leah, yeah, call this an onion the way there's layers to it. Oh my goodness. Then after Leah, the next morning, we get to meet Malcolm's girlfriend, Tristan. And they talk about her meeting Leah for the first time. Kelly calls Malcolm to try to get him to come to the anniversary party, and he makes up an excuse and, hangs up. But they can tell he's lying. So they tell the family. So, cut back to Malcolm's house. Leah and Tristan meet for the first time, and it's going great. Malcolm's like, oh my god, this is the happiest day of my life. Look at this family I could have that is so healthy and happy and caring and da-da-da-da-da. But because life is still so unfair, Hal and Lois barge into his house, demanding answers why he will not come to their anniversary party. Then they see Leah. And this is when we find out. Not only did he not tell his family that he has a daughter, a 14, 15-year-old daughter, he told Leah her grandparents were dead. Hey, they're in the living room right now. That's like genuinely insane. Also, you kept the fact that you have 5 siblings. You have 5 siblings. You kept that a secret too. What? That was like your whole thing because you're in the middle. What? They all obviously freak out because what the fuck. Also, imagine being Tristan. You're here to meet your boyfriend's daughter for the first time. Turns out she has grandparents? Episode 1 ends with Malcolm sitting everybody down. He's like, I'm gonna explain, just sit down. And then he runs out of the house like a little pussy, and then he has to run down the street because he forgot his car keys. I'm not gonna lie, it was a good first episode. And then episode 2 opens with Malcolm. I don't know where he is. It's a field or a petting zoo or something. It's outside, it's dark, there's an animal chewing on his jacket. He calls his best friend in the world, Stevie, my boy Stevie. By the way, Stevie has a husband, child, engages. I just feel like that's important to know. I saw people also complaining about this, especially since in the original show we've only seen Stevie with girls. But I'll raise you this. Stevie is a bisexual king who's wearing sweater vests in California in the 2000s. Malcolm is wanting advice on how to gaslight his family into forgiving him for all the secrets and lies over the years, but Stevie is like, no, you should actually, like, tell them the truth and get their forgiveness that way, idiot. And luckily Malcolm's like, fine, okay, and then he goes home. At home, he tells Leah that he was avoiding his family because of his mental health, and he kept her away from them to do the same for her, and that he doesn't want her to contact them until he can find a good way to do so himself. Back at the Wilkerson house, Francis and Piyama are there. They've been staying in the garage, which is now like kind of a guest bedroom. But yeah, they've been staying there for the anniversary. Francis comes in and he tells Lois that Piyama is pregnant! Which honestly surprised me because I thought Piyama hated kids. But then again, that was pretty early in their relationship. And in the finale, after the explosive mess, she's like, well, we might as well have kids because I'm not scared of gross shit anymore. So I guess people change. But yeah, very happy for Francis and Piyama. Unfortunately, Lois brushes it off. But like, she has a lot on her mind, okay? She has Malcolm, his secret life, and her actual first grandchild that he has. Because how do you hide a whole ass person from your mom? Especially Lois, like, that's crazy. She's thinking about all the money that she's been spending on this anniversary party, and she's about to be thinking about whatever the fuck Reese has been doing, which we will get into. But then later on, Francis finds in one of her shopping bags some baby clothes for the baby, so he realizes that she does in fact care, which is awesome. Kelly pulls Reese into their room, which was originally the boys' room, so fun fact, Kelly is the only kid of 6 kids to be able to stay in this room alone. Because when they moved in, they already had Francis and Reese, and Malcolm was born, I think, like, later that day. They're the only one who's been able to live in this room boy feet free. And that's beautiful. Anyways, we find out that Reese has a YouTube channel, but instead of posting, like, fun, cool videos like this one, he posts videos of Hal messing up the house projects that they've been doing together. Mind you, Hal told Reese that these projects were expensive and unnecessary, but Reese convinced him to keep doing them because he loves bonding with his dad. Kelly's obviously going to tell Hal, but they're going to wait until after the anniversary party to do it. But it's actually too late because Hal's been eavesdropping this entire time, and then he faints in the hallway due to betrayal, and then his family has to roll him into the bedroom to rest. And you want to know how broken Hal is from this? Lois tries to initiate sex the next morning, and he turns her down. Hal said no to Lois. That's how broken he is from his evil-ass children. After a few days of not hearing from her, Malcolm finally gets Tristan to come over, where they argue, because of course. Tristan says that unless he can get all his shit together and take care of his family issues, she's never going to talk to him again. Which is such a good thing, because holy shit, because it is this conversation where she finds out that he has brothers. 4 brothers. They've been dating long enough for her to meet his child, but she didn't know until just now that he has 4 brothers. not to mention the one sibling. At school, Leah has an interaction with one of her main bullies, who I think sneezes so hard that snot ends up on her chin, which, like, gross. You freak. At first, Leah's coming up with a really good burn, but then she decides to be kind. What the fuck? And tell her about the snot on her chin? What the fuck? This act of kindness catches the attention of a classmate. I think his name is, like, James or whatever. He doesn't fucking matter. And he ends up being a friend / crush of Leah's. But again, he doesn't matter. Back at Malcolm's, Malcolm tells Leah that he's decided the only family he's going to talk to is her. So, we use your big brain and your critical thinking, Malcolm, on that one. They decide to go to dinner, but when they get to the car, Leah kicks Malcolm into the back seat and locks him in there. Turns out Tristan is up in the front seat, and her and Leah are going to drive Malcolm to the anniversary party so he can make up with his family. Leah calls Lois to be like, hey, Malcolm's had a change of heart, we will be there. While Tristan is like, you're the fucking toxic one because you've been hiding your family for so fucking long. You're crazy. You're crazy and you're insane. And, like, finally, somebody's talking sense. But then she's like, while we're on the topic of secrets, I have an attempted murder charge.
12 years ago, I was arrested for attempted murder.
Whoa! You what?
My mom was dating this guy, and one time he beat her up, and I got him arrested. He came straight to my apartment and kicked my door in, and I shot him. You know how to shoot people, obviously. It took a couple of weeks for everyone to figure out the truth and dismiss the charges. But it did get in some newspapers. And all over the internet. Because I was naked when I shot him.
Hey, I'm sorry, what? Hal, beaten down by the betrayal of his children, realizes that his depression has been hurting his family. So he calls Abe, who takes him to a clinic of sorts run by Francis's old friend Richie. Richie puts down a bowl of pills. I don't know what it is. It's drugs. He's only supposed to take a small dose, but Hal, he takes the bowl and he just drinks straight from it. But he's no pussy, so instead of letting Abe drive him to the hospital to get his stomach pumped, he goes into another room to green out, or whatever the psychedelic equivalent of greening out is. And you know what? Sometimes, in order to do that, you have to strip naked and flop around on the floor. We've all been there. He's also talking to hallucinated versions of himself, which is very much Hal. A therapist version of Hal says that he needs to start taking care of himself, and that his family are leeches, and that he should kill them. What? This is not therapy Hal. No. This is evil Hal. So Hal starts panicking and tries to kill evil Hal, but that just makes his panic attack worse, because there's only one Hal. The next morning, Lois finds Al in an alleyway, and she knows about the drugs. She's screaming at this guy that this day will not be ruined, and she will have the perfect anniversary party. Meanwhile, Hal is trying to tell her he's the birthday cake.
No one realizes it, but I'm their birthday cake.
Then, while driving home, they get in a car wreck where Lois breaks her leg. And the doctor's like, yeah, you need a rest. You should definitely, like, skip your party. But, like, no. She's not going to skip her party. She will be making that anniversary party for her anniversary. Finally, the event we've all been waiting for. Hal and Lois's 40th anniversary party. And this is where we get to see a bunch more of the characters from the original series. First, we get to see Dabney, Lloyd, and Kevin, some of Malcolm's old Krellboyne friends, who are now in a polycule with a son named Hubert.
That's our Hubert. There's an ant! Don't worry, I've confused him!
Who I can only assume was made in a test tube. Now, I wasn't surprised at all to see Dabney and Lloyd together. In fact, I was expecting it. But seeing Kevin in the mix, that's interesting. Not him being gay, necessarily. More him being poly with Dabney and Lloyd. Like, I didn't really see him as being part of their relationship, but, like, it's like, oh my god, an option I didn't know about. Speaking of Krellboyne, Stevie and his husband are obviously there, along with his divorced parents, Abe and Kitty, who are arguing in that way of, son, tell your mother, well, you tell your father. But the thing is, Stevie actually doesn't. Do you know how much lung power that's taking him? Be mindful. The next time you say, well, tell blah 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 that I said blah blah blah, be mindful of how much lung power you're using, because you don't know if they have the same. There's also Francis's friends from military school. There's Eric Hansen, Ken Finley, and Drew Horton. Turns out Commandant Spangler died, but it's actually okay because We all hated him. They tell Francis about how they posted a video of them decapitating a statue at a bar, which, like, how and why would you do that, first of all? It's a statue. But they're like, we don't understand why we're getting so many, like, hate comments and stuff. Like, we don't get it. So Francis takes a look at the video. They decapitated a statue of Jesus Christ at a church. Right. Yeah. Like, okay, I guess. We also get to see Gretchen from the grotto, which I was kind of surprised by. It turns out that Otto did pass away. Unfortunately, his actor Kenneth Mars passed away back in 2011. But I'm surprised to see Gretchen here now, because if you've seen the 7th season, you know that Otto fired Francis and I think even threatened to sue him because of loss of money, which I feel like a lot of people felt was very out of character for Otto, considering how generous he was, sometimes to a fault even. But I think they did such an abrupt ending with that because Kenneth Mars had to leave the show for health issues. But I am glad to see Gretchen again. I really liked her character. I'm just surprised that she's at, like, this anniversary party 20 years after firing the oldest son of this couple, you know? But, like, whatever. Malcolm, Leah, and Tristan arrive, and Malcolm's goal is to avoid his parents. Malcolm, have you learned nothing? Do you not understand what the point of you being here is for? Get it together. He tries talking to his siblings, but they of course want nothing to do with him because he's also been avoiding them. And yes, Dewey is still on the laptop.
All I'm saying is Dewey is stupid to be here on a laptop.
Eat my balls, Jamie.
But also, Jamie is here, looking fine as fuck. This is not either of the original actors for Jamie. Jamie in the original series was played by twins, which is what they like usually do with younger kids like that. This guy is Anthony Timpano. I think he does a good job. Jamie's only in this last episode, though. Jamie's in the Coast Guard, technically on guard duty at this very moment, but he snuck away so he could come to the party. Also, if you look closely, his name badge says no last name, which I think is funny. It's both for the running joke that you never really know the family's last name, but it's also a callback. I don't know if I've noticed them doing it any other time in the series, but I remember in the finale, at the graduation, Francis drops his name badge and Hal picks it up, and it says Francis, no last name. So I don't know. Fun callback. Lois eventually finds Malcolm, and she gets a formal introduction finally to Tristan and Leah, and they of course all hit it off, which of course is awful, so Malcolm needs to run and hide again. Sigh. Remember the boy that Leah befriended and like had a crush on? Yeah, turns out he's a pig. Such a surprise. She sends him like a selfie, and he's like, haha, send your boobs. But like seriously. And that obviously breaks her heart. But it's okay, because she ends up talking to Hubert and Kelly, and she sends his text to his parents. So Leah is a girl who's gonna be okay. Lois once again finds Malcolm, this time hiding in a bathroom, and this is where the two finally hash things out. Lois is like, what the fuck is your problem, basically. And at first Malcolm is like, I've been avoiding this family because everybody's genuinely crazy. And every time we get together, somebody's always yelling or getting hurt, and I hate it. But then, after some more questions, he talks about how he feels like a disappointment to the family, especially since he's supposed to be the smart one. He feels like he was held to higher standards and failed them. And he specifically brings up her telling him he's going to be president before the graduation. Guys, that moment in the series finale is so important to both the show, both the original and this revival, especially this revival. Holy shit. And the characters, and to me personally, that moment. Because Lois is telling him about all these things he's gonna do, and he's like, oh my god, you actually expect me to be president? And Lois says, you look me in the eye and you tell me you can't do it. Because that's the whole point. And she gets into this. I hate the way she words it. She says that those were all lies and she was just trying to give him positive goals. I don't think she should have worded it like that, because he gets so fucking mad. Rightfully so, actually. But I get what she meant, because the whole point wasn't what specifically he was going to do. She knew he was going to do great things. He just needed to not stop himself. He needed to not limit himself. that was the point. And so when she's like, those were lies, I was trying to give you goals, he is so mad, so enraged, because all of the stress that those lies caused that like fueled all his accomplishments, it felt like a lie. But then while he's like talking about it, he realizes everything he's wanted to do, he has done.
All of that was based on your lie! How could you do that to me? Wait, Malcolm, you've accomplished so much. And all of it is you.
And that was the whole point. He's accomplished everything he wanted to do, and Lois says that's all she wanted for him. Then he says that he missed her, and they hug it out, and it's such a special moment, and I really like it. Speaking of family working it out, Hal finds Reese, who has been avoiding him and Lois this entire night too, just like Malcolm. When Hal finds him, Jamie, Kelly, and Dewey on the laptop are quick to crowd around them to see what's gonna happen. And Reese apologizes for pretending to hang out and have this relationship with Hal because he like wanted the relationship to be real and da-da-da-da. And Hal does not accept the apology. Thank God. I was like so proud of Hal because I feel like the kids, they get away with stuff by pulling on his heartstrings a lot, but that overdose really changed him. He says that although he doesn't accept Reese's apology, he still obviously loves his family, and that his love for his family gives him a purpose of sorts. Now that the family's pretty much made up, Lois gets on stage to give her present to Hal. Turns out for the past few months she's been interviewing the family and all their friends, basically getting them to say what they love about Hal. It's very sweet. Dewey is up at the beginning, and after talking about Hal, he starts playing a piece that he wrote for him, which plays throughout the rest of the video, which is very nice. Hi. This one's Dale. The video as like a whole, it's pretty nice, except for Malcolm's part. It's filmed in vertical, he's rushing at work. It feels more like a video voicemail than what any of the others did. It's very clear he didn't understand the importance and the point of the video he was making. So when it's finished and Lois is like, I love you, Hal, and everybody claps, he gets on stage and he makes a speech talking about like his love for Hal and how he's like sorry that he avoided his family and stuff, realizing that they weren't the toxic ones and da-da-da-da-da. And then Malcolm turns to Tristan, talks about how he loves her and stuff, and then tries to propose to her.
There are so many parts of my personality that don't work right, but I love you so much. Will you marry me?
Without a ring, mind you. I literally have no idea why he did this. It was so fucking embarrassing, and I'm so glad that she said no, because oh my goodness. She says that it's too early and that they obviously need to work out their like secrets from each other. The entire room is quiet because oh my god, this is so awkward. And Stevie tries to save the day like he did in the pilot by falling over in his chair, but it does not work. At the end of the night, Hal and Lois have their spotlight dance, and remember when Lois made Hal promise no surprises, everything would go her way this night? Yeah, of course he's not keeping that promise because Francis is up in the ceiling. He's trying to open a sack full of glitter, but the zipper is stuck, and this dumbass just keeps like trying to yank on it. So the sack of glitter falls onto Hal, and then Francis falls onto the sack of glitter, causing it to explode, and then it causes like a stampede, and the episode ends in pretty typical Wilkerson fashion. Some of the family is covered completely in glitter, others are okay because they were hiding under tables, but it's just the family now because everybody left. At least for a moment, they seem to be happy and doing good. Leah and Malcolm take turns talking to the camera, and they both hope that the other is going to be okay with being around the family. Leah because she actually likes them, and Malcolm because he knows he can't avoid them anymore. There's even a moment where I think they say like the same thing at the same time, and they look at each other, and it just reminded me of that moment in Fleabag where she's talking to the camera and the hot priest asked where she went, you know? Unfortunately, the happiness doesn't last for long because soon Malcolm, Reese, and Francis start arguing about who ruined the party first, and then everybody starts arguing, fade to black, and that is the end of Malcolm in the Middle, Life's Still Unfair. Now, was this revival perfect? Absolutely not. Holy shit, there are so many things they could have done better. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't good. I liked it. I liked it a lot, actually. Was it the best? Absolutely not. But, like, it was good. I saw a lot, but didn't read or watch, a lot of bad reviews for this revival. So, like, I really thought it was gonna suck. And maybe it's because I don't have that high of a standard for things I watch. Or maybe it's because I was just, like, really excited about, hey, more content of my favorite thing to care. But I didn't think it was that bad. Yes, there were things I didn't like Dewey barely being there and being on a screen the whole time. That felt weird. And I felt like some of the bits were kind of random. Like Tristan's attempted murder charge and the statue decapitation thing, you know? But at the end of the day, it's not like the show was horrible. Maybe they were expecting bigger things from the characters. I know that I was. In my head, Reese was a chef, or like an owner of a restaurant. Malcolm being president. That was obviously more of a stretch, but like I still thought it would be fun to explore that different reality. I also did not expect him to keep his entire family such a secret. Like, Tristan didn't even know that he had brothers, which, like, why wouldn't she just watch Malcolm in the Middle? Then she would know. Duh. But with all the stuff that I thought was, like, iffy, there were also a lot of things that left me satisfied. Like, knowing I was right about Malcolm's single father backstory. That was awesome. Being able to see other characters that I like and characters that I have been waiting to see. Mainly Kelly, because they are the final Wilkerson sibling. And honestly, most of all, being able to see Malcolm and Lois reconcile like that. It was very sweet. As a former gifted kid with burnout, I really appreciated Malcolm acknowledging all of the stress and pressure that he felt like he was under, even if everybody else thought that that's not what they were doing. And yes, he was so angry at Lois because her expectations created all of the stress, but at the same time it's appreciated because he realizes that it's what made him do all the things that he has done in his life, the things that he wanted to do. And it makes him realize that despite how unfair everything in his life has seemed, he's right where he wants to be. As much as I love the Malcolm in the Middle series, I don't think they should do any continuations after this. I thought like a little glimpse into the Wilkersons' life for like a big milestone like that, that's fun. That's a good way to do it. But I don't think they can do like that 90s show thing where they can like keep doing stuff. They would have to change a lot for me to watch it, at least. Mainly the lighting. The lighting is horrible. Yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I know it was a long one. I hope that you enjoyed it. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the revival if you've seen it. Do you think that it held up to the original series? Do you think that they can or should do more rebooting, revival, whatever you want to call it? Let me know. You can check me out on my TikTok and Instagram. They'll be linked down below, but they are both I'm Derbs or I'm_Derbs. I can't remember, but they'll be linked. Yeah. I'll see you later. Bye.